Theory on the Origin of the Universe. Part 2. Why the Big Bang Theory is wrong. The mistakes leading to the Big Bang Theory are the following. 1. Slipher did not believe his observations that contradicted the observation of an expanding universe. 2. The people that supported the Big Bang Theory were wrong. 3. Attributed proofs for the Big Bang Theory were wrong and actually contradicts it. 1. Slipher did not believe his observations that contradicted the observations of an expanding universe. In 1912, Slipher, an American astronomer, obtained a spectrogram for the Andromeda Galaxy indicating that the galaxy was approaching our Milky Way galaxy at an amazing speed. Slipher measured the velocities of other spiral galaxies over the next 2 years. His first few measurements showed approaching galaxies on the south side of our galaxy, while on the opposite side the galaxies are receding. The result made Slipher formed a drift hypothesis whereby he thought that it was our galaxy that was moving towards the south galaxies, away from the north galaxies. However, his hypothesis was contradicted by the observations of more spiral galaxies, as receding spiral galaxies were found on the south side as well as on the north side of our galaxy. Nevertheless, Slipher clung to his drift hypothesis. It was unfortunate that Slipher did not believe his observations, which at the very least could have challenged that the universe is not expanding. 2. The people that supported the Big Bang Theory were wrong. The following were the people and incidents that paved the path for the theory of an expanding universe and the acceptance of the Big Bang Theory. There was an observation by Edwin Hubble of a universe that is moving away. There were the mathematical calculations of Willem de Sitter, Albert Einstein, and Alexander Friedmann of an expanding universe. There was the theory of Georges Lemaitre, supported by Arthur Eddington, Georges Gamow, Ralph Alpher, and Robert Herman, and Robert Dicke. And finally there were the discovery by Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson. All of these people's works and discoveries led to the establishment of the Big Bang Theory that were strongly defended until now. Mathematical errors of Willem de Sitter, Albert Einstein, and Alexander Friedmann. In 1917, Willem de Sitter, a Dutch astronomer, produced an equation that described a universe that was expanding. Einstein, taking the universe as a whole, used his gravitational field equations to provide just a compact mathematical tool that could describe the general configuration of matter and space. Einstein and de Sitter were in communication comparing their separate models of cosmology. Willem de Sitter's model could only be stable if it has no matter. Einstein's early model, on the other hand, could not contain matter and be stable. His equations showed that if the universe were static at the start, the gravitational attraction of the matter would make it collapse on itself. Einstein solved the instability of his model by adding a constant term to his equations. This constant, if not zero, would make his model not collapse under its own gravity. Called cosmological constant, Einstein admitted that it is only a hypothetical term and it is not required by the theory. The cosmological constant was only necessary for the purpose of making possible a quasi-static distribution of matter. Meanwhile, de Sitter's model of an expanding universe produced a diminishing frequency of light with increasing distance. In 1922, Alexander Friedmann, a Russian meteorologist and mathematician, published a set of mathematical solutions that showed a non-static universe. Willem de Sitter, Albert Einstein, and Alexander Friedmann had used math that showed an expanding universe. Einstein's cosmological constant was later used in support of an expanding universe. While math is very important in science, the use of math in the Big Bang Theory, theory of relativity, Higgs mechanism, and string theory had led physics astray. Mistaken observations of an expanding universe by Edwin Hubble and the wrong theory of Georges Lemaitre. In 1927, Georges Lemaitre, a Belgian astrophysicist and a Catholic priest, published his model of an expanding universe in a little read Annals of the Brussels Scientific Society. His paper was easily overlooked. When Lemaitre saw a report of the Royal Astronomical Society meeting held in 1930, he wrote to Arthur Eddington, who was his former teacher, reminding him of his 1927 paper. Eddington recognized the value of Lemaitre's paper and shared Lemaitre's paper to de Sitter. De Sitter wrote to Shapley. In 1928, Edwin Hubble, an American astronomer, attended a meeting of the International Astronomical Union held in Holland where he discussed cosmology with de Sitter. Hubble returned to his Mount Wilson observatory to test de Sitter's theory of shifting frequency. Hubble with his assistant Milton Humason was looking for a displacement of lines in the spectrum towards the red, in what would later be called the red shift. What they both found was that the greater the receding velocity of a galaxy is, the farther the distance to it. Einstein agreed that the universe is indeed not static. Einstein confirmed that Lemaitre's work fits well into his theory of general relativity. In 1931, de Sitter proclaimed in public Lemaitre's brilliant discovery of the expanding universe. Remember that Arthur Eddington, who was instrumental in providing proof and support for Einstein's erroneous theory of general relativity, had also contributed in helping Lemaitre in his erroneous Big Bang theory. While Lemaitre had been influenced in the idea of an expanding universe, common sense could have prevailed that the universe, that is, all the matter in the universe, could not have come from the size of a grapefruit, referred to as the cosmic egg. Physicists and cosmologists were trapped in the idea of an expanding universe and thus have no way but to accept the Big Bang theory. The Mistake of Cosmic Radiation as the Embers of the Big Bang by George Gamow, Ralph Alpher and Robert Herman, Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson, and Robert Dicke. In a 1948 paper, George Gamow argued that the Big Bang universe would be at first dominated by radiation. As the radiation expanded, it would be created into matter. Ralph Alpher and Robert Herman predicted that a remnant of the radiation would remain, a cosmic background radiation permeating all space. In 1963, Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson, working for Bell Telephone Laboratory while studying the sky's microwave noise, realized that they had detected microwave radiations coming from all around the sky. In 1965, Robert Dicke, a physicist working nearby at Princeton University, had learned of the measurements of radiation, about 3 degrees Kelvin, correctly interpreted it as the radiation from the Big Bang. Dicke had independently recognized the prediction of Alpher and Herman. When George Gamow forwarded the idea that the Big Bang universe was first dominated by radiation and that it would be later created into matter, anything that resembled it was taken as its proof. This same thing had happened in Einstein's theory of general relativity and the Higgs mechanism. A theory was forwarded and any proof that resembled it was accepted. Actually, the attributed proofs for the Big Bang theory were wrong, and this will be discussed next. An erroneous idea of the Big Bang theory was that in the hot early universe, the proton, neutron, and electron were separate. The idea that the neutron existed in the early universe is nonsense, in that a neutron is created in the nuclear fusion of the hydrogen atoms from a star. Radiation by itself, as we know, is photon or an energy particle. We are forcing ourselves to believe that a photon can be converted into the quarks forming the proton and electron. 3. Attributed proofs and explanations for the Big Bang theory were wrong. The following were the proofs that are being used in support of the Big Bang: cosmic background radiation and constant temperature. The Big Bang theory tried also to explain the abundance of hydrogen and helium and the creation of heavy elements. These were the proofs that is being used for the support of the Big Bang theory. Observe that while these are being touted as the support for the Big Bang theory, nobody had pointed out that they are actually in conflict with the Big Bang theory. The presence of the cosmic background radiation could be attributed to the possibility that the universe is homogeneous, as the stars were practically evenly distributed throughout the universe, and supports the fact that the temperature of the universe is constant. The explanation of the Big Bang theory for the abundance of the hydrogen and helium was that they were created in a process, the Big Bang nucleosynthesis. This is completely false. We know that hydrogen accounts for 73%, helium 25%, and the rest of the elements 2% of the universe. A more reasonable explanation for the abundance of hydrogen and helium is that the universe is practically made of hydrogen atoms. The stars were completely made of hydrogen, which in the process of nuclear fusion created helium as the second most common element. Thus, the second most abundant element, the helium atom, is practically the result of the nuclear fusion within a star. The Big Bang theory actually cannot account for the creation of the heavy elements. Nuclear fusion from the star and later its supernova was used to explain it, yet nobody challenged the fact that it was just included as an explanation of the Big Bang theory. Imagine that the Big Bang explosion was more than a supernova. Yet, the Big Bang had only created up to the element beryllium. The supernova, which is a natural progression of a star, is the more reasonable explanation for the creation of the rest of the elements. Since the Big Bang theory is the dominant and established theory on the origin of the universe, most physicists have no choice but to reconcile their other theories and ideas with the Big Bang theory. The following are the other ideas related to the Big Bang theory. 1. The question of why there are more matter than antimatter in the universe. 2. The problem of the unification of the fundamental forces. 3. The question of the existence of dark matter and dark energy. 4. The existence of the Higgs boson. These are the only few of the ideas that are related to the Big Bang theory that will be proven wrong or explained as something else by my own theory on the origin of the universe. Summary. I had shown in this video why the Big Bang theory is wrong. It is actually a theory that has many holes in it. There were questions on the Big Bang theory, and because that it is the only accepted theory on the origin of the universe, these questions are being set aside. In another video where I present my own theory on the origin of the universe called Hydrogen Origin Theory of the Universe, it will be shown that my theory is the more reasonable theory for the origin of the universe, and it can solve all the things observed in the universe. I challenge all the brilliant people, physics teachers and professors, scientists, and physicists to re-examine the Big Bang theory and all its proofs and supports, and to compare it to my own theory on the origin of the universe called Hydrogen Origin Theory of the Universe.
Please give proper credit to the author for discussion of his ideas and theories. Thank you.